What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another deck profile here on TCG University for the card game UniVersus. My name's Tam, and today I'm going to be telling you why I built Nightmare as our $50 budget deck. Before we get started into that, big shout-outs to Rochester CCG for sponsoring this whole week, all these episodes, this profile included. If you like the deck and you want a copy of it, just go to rochesterccg.com. Sean's going to be putting out a one-click shop option if he has all of the cards available. Otherwise, you can just toss them into your checkout cart, that's what it's called, right? And just buy it all there. Once again, rochesterccg.com. And if you could, tell him that TCGU sent you in the cool comments. We'd love to let him know that you saw it from us. So from us, let's just jump into it. Let's get into Nightmare. Okay, so this is Nightmare. Nightmare is a 6-hand size character with 29 health. This deck, as I said in the opening, is about $50. And the reason we wanted to make this the reason, the inspiration of this deck, honestly, is just his static. I wanted to make sure that every single one of my attacks got an additional 2 damage for free, just for existing in my deck. He also has 2 other abilities. Are once per turn after an attack you play is blocked, pick it back up, and then if your opponent blocks your attack, they could burn up to 3 after milling 3. This deck's really good. It's really aggressive. It is, I want to try and kill you. I want to attack, and that is just the only defense on our deck. Honestly, is just we have 29 life. please don't hit us. We don't have any true defensive postures or disruption postures that we play, because our whole deck is game plan and aggro as we push through. So moving forward, we've got 4 I Grant You Death. This card it's a rare, it's a buck. It's really, really good. It's game plan because of the burn 4. Burn 4 plus Nightmares up to burn 3. For the biggest proponent for this is Breaker. They're going to Breaker me. I'll respond, lose my 2 off of I Grant You Death, check this on a 5, disrupt their Breaker, and then burn them, lose them for life. I am continuing my game plan as well as disrupting up their defensive. So I guess it's more game plan then, right? Game plan plus game plan. This card's just, I'm going to kill you more. Not only does it burn 4, but it also lets you draw 2 and then discard 1 in order to try and dig for more attacks. Very cool card, and I wanted to make sure I played both an action and an asset. I'm playing double Solich. This card was like $3. It's an ultra, $3. Archimate, after your non-throw attack is completely blocked, your opponent discards the top 10 cards of their deck and burns for each attack discarded. It's like a mega Nightmare. Super Nightmare. Solich Nightmare. It is just more game plan. I want to mill them for 13. The mill out strategy is possible depending on how defensive their deck is and how long I can stay alive myself. If they keep full blocking things, I can throw a singular attack and mill them 13 every turn. They only get to play that so many times. They only get to do that 6 times, and then they've cycled, not including any cards that they've played themselves. Super rad card. I like this at a 2 of. It could maybe be cut down to a 1 of. Don't put it at 3. Don't do that. There's also other cards that you could play instead. Moving on, we've got a 4 Bowflang. This card is honestly just a poke card. It is not meant to kill anybody. Once again, all of our attacks get the +2 damage for existing in our deck because their speed is half of their printed damage. I didn't say that weird. But the main point of this card is I'm going to play this card, discard the top 4, find an attack in those top 4, draw a card. Hopefully it's a foundation. They block this card. I lift it back up. I then build out. I've got another one for my next turn. It also says my next check to play a card gets +1. Honestly, this is just so that if I do happen to play more Bowflames, Bowflame goes into Bowflame, goes into Bowflame. They didn't block all of them, and if they did, I'll Bowflame and then pick it up, play Bowflame. Now my check is super free. We do run 2 bad checks in the deck, but the likelihood of checking them is so low. Bowflame's just a poke card. You don't need to kill people. Speaking of kill people, we got 4 Skull Chopper. Skull Chopper is a meat and potatoes card. It combos with a weapon, with a mid attack. This card is not. Combo enhanced, lose 2 vitality. This attack gets 2 speed and 4 damage. So this is a 2 high for 10 most times. And anytime your opponent plays an action card, they got to pay an additional 2 life to play it. Very, very good stuff. It doesn't have a block, which is a little spooky. There's sometimes you get caught with it in your hand when you don't want to play it. Otherwise, it's just a 2 high for 6 that they just got to deal with twice because of Nightmare. This deck is exceptionally good at, hey, I'll play the same thing twice. You better have held the 2 of the same block zone. If not, then I'm going to keep slinging more highs, more mids, more lows at you. Real value card, especially if you get that combo off. On to the other value card. Wow, this card is super good. Nightmare. Takedown. If the attack's not blocked, discard the top card of your deck until you find an attack, and then pick it back up. So Nightmare says if you block it, I'm going to pick it up. If it says if you don't block it, I'm going to find another attack. So the mid block is super value here because they'll take 3, then I'll pick it up and then I'll play it again. They probably didn't have another mid, maybe, or they didn't have another low, probably didn't have another mid. Just play it. It's got this really juicy 1 low block. Value. You should play this even in non-budget decks. 4 Crimson Vortex. This is where the budget starts to shine truly. It's a 3 mid for 8 in Nightmare. It's got a 1 high block. It combos if they successfully full block it after comboing with a high attack, which this card's not, but Skull Chopper is. Keep that in mind. Your opponent discards the top 6 cards of their deck. If you've got this card in Nightmare and Soul Edge, you're discarding them 19 cards for them full blocking your attack. Wow, that's a lot. That is a whole heck of a lot. And they burn 1 for each attack that they see. Not only are those attacks not being thrown at you, but you're game planning them because this attack might have done more than the 8 damage it was going for if they saw just a grip of orange cards off the top of their deck. Very, very valuable. We're playing Triple from Hell. This is our main kill card. This card says if it's not blocked, you blow up one of their foundations and burn them for the control. That's the bottom number down here. So it's possible you burn them for the 5s. Otherwise, this card is our momentum out. It has EX3. And so with Nightmare plus this card, they have to hold a bunch of really good blocks. Otherwise, they just die. Yeah, it's him saying if it's blocked, they burn, and then you pick it up, and then this saying if they don't block, it's for 8 damage, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 damage from Hell slinging at you. They have to deal with them, and they have to deal with them twice because they have to block the first one. And then our last cool card, Dark Requesa Triumph. Both of my kill cards are like $4. From Hell comes in every Scorpion structure deck, but Dark Requesa comes as an ultra rare. It is a 18 damage attack if you discard a momentum. It's a 4 mid for 18 in Nightmare, as well as it can't be partially blocked, so they have to have the mid block for it, which is this ultra value town. It combos off of just a regular old attack, and it just kills people if they're holding the wrong blocks. I was holding high blocks for the From Hells. Well, actually, Dark Requesa is just gonna dome me for 18. And if you do have the mid block, I'm just gonna pick it back up a Nightmare and then sling it again. Super value card. On our foundations, we're playing a bunch of 4-ofs. We're playing the Azure Nightmare. This card's just a game plan card. I want to check my 6s down here. I want to build as many foundations as possible so I can play as many attacks as I can, and then throw as many. If it gets stunned, they commit 2, discard a card to ready it back up to play more attacks. This card's just game plan all over the place. Discarding a card to ready it to block with is fine, but man, if we're having to block in this deck, we're probably not going to kill him. Because we're playing 4 Entrusted Protector. Entrusted Protector is like our main and only defensive piece. This is an extra 16 life on top of our character if we get to build them all. But with that said, genuinely, 16 life is not that much. It is very possible for people to sling the 27, 25, or 37, 35 damage that it is to push through this plus Nightmare. So holding blocks is important. It does check off 4, which is a little unfortunate, but for the budget that we have, 4 Entrusted Protector will help you live out one extra turn, and hopefully that's what you need in order to get there. We're playing 3, the second Saintly Beast. This card is disgusting in our deck. Once per turn, discard the top 3 cards. The deck gets +2 speed. Hey, you have to block this thing. You have to block this From Hell because it's going to mollywop you for 13 damage. And it has EX and another +2 speed. Build 2 of these guys, and it's got an extra 4 speed. They're just not blocking it. And if they're not blocking it, it means that they're dying. Very good card. The defensive aspect of this card is fine. It's got Breaker 1. We'll probably never block with it. We're killing people. And the -2 speed is fine. It's probably only good whenever they increase the speed for themselves. Very good card. Honestly, like one of the best budget cards that you can play. We're playing Triple Commander of Outworld Army. Like I said, this is once again another defense/disruption card. I'm going to actually call it more disruption than defense. If you take 4 more damage, flip one of the problem cards. I've got a thing that keeps negating all my speed, they have a commit ability that I just don't want to deal with. Take a little bit of damage, you get 29 life. Take damage, flip that thing. Disrupt their board in order to help make sure that your game plan goes through. We're playing 3 Strict Mentor, lose 1 vitality. make sure that you can block a thing, playable while committed. So it's possible to build these out on turn 1, lose 2 life to make sure I don't take 8 is super, super good. It's also good spam. It's got a fine low block. Card's super value, especially at the price point that it's at. I'm playing triple inhuman speed. Honestly, this card is in here just so my opponent doesn't gain life. I'm playing a burn deck. I'm playing an aggressive deck. This card is to make sure that they don't heal back up anything. No Templars, no Gills, no nothing. I don't want you gaining any sort of life. And if you do gain life, I'm going to burn you for an additional 2. The plus speed for the momentum, very not relevant, but yeah, still fine. Still fine. Playing 2 Presidente on the house. It's just more damage. It's 2 damage whenever you need it or want it. Goading them out to block an attack. One of the best ones being Crimson Vortex. Hey, this is a 10 damage attack, and if you block it, you're going to mill 19 cards off the top of your deck. Super value. Double telepathic warrior. I think this card is super, super value for the budget that it's at. If your opponent plays an action, they discard a card, and if you discard any number of cards, you get to draw a card. So it just kind of is a little bit of disruption for your opponent, making sure that their game plan doesn't work, making sure that you get to continue to have cards in your hand if they discard them, or if they play an action, you're going to punish them. Super rad card. I think this card should actually see maybe a little bit more play inside a standard, not just a popper. We're playing double protecting Unica. This card's in here truly just destroy at the top card of your deck your momentum. We've got plenty of momentum outs, whether it be EX or the ability on Dark Rayquaza. So I just want to sling as many scary awesome attacks as possible. Plus, like, we're not really losing a foundation if we have any Azure Nightmares built, because I'll just discard a card to ready it back up. We're playing double Fung Shui because stretching out my 29 life is super good, and my attacks speak for themselves. Discard the top 2 cards, get -1 speed. Just hitting a block is super rad. On my last ones, we've got 1 blood for blood. This incentivizes them not to block even more, as well as some slight disruption when it comes to if they stun me. And then my last card is Undying Rage, the MVP of the deck. Truly, I should have been playing more of these. Pick these up. This picks up pretty much every attack in my deck. Just commit it and pick up the top card of my discard pile. There was plenty of times where I would check a From Hell, tap a couple cards, and be like, all right, I'll pick up this Undying Rage on my opponent's turn. You saw that I picked one up from my Takedown. I've got another one. You have to deal with 3 Undying Rage or 3 From Hells on my next turn. It's going to be pretty scary. All right, so budget Nightmare, $50 Nightmare. I think the total that I had was just a little over 40. I want to say it was like 45 because I sprung for the extra Solich. If you like this content, please go out to Rochester CCG. Sean said he's going to have some decks out there for us. Otherwise, you can find all the cards that you could possibly want out there. And make sure that you give us a big shout out. Let him know in the comments that TCGU sent you. In addition to that, go out to patreon.com/TCG University. Get a bunch of exclusive time-gated content. If you don't want to give us the bucks, that's totally fine. Just support us out here on youtube.com/TCG University as well. So from all of us here at TCGU, stay learned.